Eric Myricks, how are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great, sir. Thank you for the gift, by the way, the album.
Well, you are welcome. I learned before this podcast that you are a musician. Your son is a musician. You play the horn, and I love the horn. The trumpet is one of the greatest instruments. I mean, of course, one of the godfathers of jazz, Louis Armstrong. Is he your inspiration at all?
I had a friend in 7th grade. I was in jazz band, and to this day, Jake Thurston, he came by and he dropped off a Louis Armstrong CD for Christmas for me. And I was like, you brought me a gift? You in 7th grade. He was in the church. He's in the Mormon church. A very nice guy. And I guess they had been like, Matt needs a gift. And it's the only gift I ever got from like a bro friend. Like 7th grade, I was like, Jake, yeah, man. I listened to that CD so much. But you know the movie Luca?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that song obviously has this incredible trumpet. And my 8th grader who's playing trumpet, we were listening to it the other day, and he's like, Dad, that's a trumpet. I'm like, I know. And it speaks to you.
That's right.
Yeah. It's a good time. Listen, this is not about me. This is about you. You, sir, are running for mayor of Nampa.
Yes, indeed.
Talk to me about that.
I'm so excited about it. I saw a gap. I saw an opportunity to make greater impact. My wife and I, we have a nonprofit that brings awareness to Alzheimer's and dementia. My wife is an executive director of a memory care assisted living community. So my dad is living with Alzheimer's disease. So we always say our family business is caring for our elders. And so after I became an Atlantic Fellow for Brain Health at UCSF, we started these national initiatives and local to bring awareness to Alzheimer's disease in partnership with large organizations like Alzheimer's Association, Global Brain Health Institute, and Alzheimer's Society, for example. And we were successful. And so for me, it began to dawn on me that there was more for me to explore in how I serve community. My dad was an educator, got his master's in economics from University of Michigan, taught inner city chemistry. My mom was an administrator for children and family services in Cleveland, where I grew up. So we were middle class, but I got to help raise kids who literally came for nothing. Parents were, crackheads, and to see them grow and be, productive citizens. So service for me was just how I grew up. I mean, my parents, raised me in an urban Mennonite church that was founded by a couple from Amish country. And I went to a private boys' school, a preparatory school, where, this idea of responsibility, community was also instilled in us as boys. So all of this sort of amounted to this opportunity to run for mayor. And I'm not a career politician. It wasn't on my original agenda or plan. But when I saw things in our community that needed to be addressed, I said, with Mayor Kling not running again and my opposition, I said, no, I got to put my hat in the ring and make some change.
Talk to me about what's not being addressed.
Oh, man. We've talked to up to 1,000 people. I've knocked on over 800 doors already. And I can't tell you the kinds of conversations that I'm having with people. I mean, I'll give you a very quick example. I was at the post office one day, and I came out of the post office, and there's a bus stop right outside the post office. And there was a lady, she was a senior. She was sitting in a wheelchair. On this day, it was about close to 100 degrees. And I said to her, hi, ma'am, my name is Eric. I'm going to be running for mayor. What would you like to see a mayor do for you? You know what she said? A covering would be nice. And then the next thing she said almost broke my heart. She said, you know, it's going to be cold soon. And I actually brought that scenario up to our current mayor. And her answer was, I didn't know that. That's something that we could pay for. And that's just an example of the little things that we overlook when we don't talk to our community. We could pay for a covering, sitting at a bus stop at 100 degrees. We can do that. I'm talking to people who are concerned about our infrastructure. They're telling me, look, why do we need to grow so fast? We have schools that are overcrowded. We have Nampa, that's Valley View, for example, the overcrowding. It's just, as you know, it's an untenable situation. We have Nampa School District. We got kids that don't have food. The food pantries are not fully stocked. So when we talk about brain economy, brain capital, the ability to see a future, human infrastructure, we're not taking care of home. We're not taking care of our people. Most people in Nampa are struggling. And I'm talking to them. And that's the whole gamut. I'm talking to young families, no pathway to a home. We know the median income is $80,000. Home, $500. How are these young kids? I got a freshman at College of Idaho right now playing football for the Yotes. How's he gonna get a home? He's not getting a home right now. Got to get him into at least a condo. The pathway isn't there. And we're talking to kids whose parents are supporting us, who are telling us on the phone, I live out of state because I couldn't afford to live in Nampa. We're not investing in ag tech. We're not investing in health tech. We don't have any incubators in Nampa. we don't we don't have a downtown. We're playing third fiddle to Caldwell. No offense. Hey, hats off to Caldwell. Killing it. They're building a promenade as an expansion of what they already got going. I've talked to the current mayor. Great guy. But see, what happens is right now in local city government, everybody wants to make excuses for being a failure. We're going into a deficit. We're failing. You can talk about how we're awarded the blah, blah, blah. Look, we're going into a deficit. We're not doing good. Just admit it. Own it.
Let me ask you a couple questions then. And I'm with you. Thank you for all that. There are these problems, right? Housing affordability and growth. Now, these two things are really complex to address because addressing one is counter to what you want for the other, right? We don't want to grow, but we can't artificially decrease the cost of housing without creating more supply, right? So how do we address one, growth, but also address it in a way that again, not like being more restrictive or whatever, but like if you are more restrictive, then housing costs go up. If you're less restrictive, housing costs theoretically go down. What's the middle ground?
Good question. You build up. Infill. We can build on top of first floor businesses downtown. This is a model that's already been established. Sure. You can get, you have multi-purpose use. You can have multi-income. Right? And you build up. Even if you get 2-3 stories on top of those one floors, you got a great view. Right?
Yeah.
Walkable city. I'm going downtown. It's a hazard. A senior could trip on one of these bricks. Our downtown pavement isn't even where it should be. Our downtown looks a mess. We're not even taking care of what we got. My mom always told me, she said, look, It's okay to have nice things, but we're not super rich. So if you want that nice thing, you show me how you take care of what you got, and then I'll give you more. In my opinion, how do we deserve more if we're not taking care of what we got? Mm. You got businesses downtown. I'm telling you, I'm talking to them. They're struggling. You got businesses, you walk past that business, you think that business is doing okay. They got 6 to 8 months to live. And they're telling me that directly.
What's causing them?
No foot traffic. No way signs to even get to downtown. We don't even have way signs to help guide people to our downtown. But people are saying, what is there to go downtown for? A couple of restaurants, great restaurants. No attraction. How about a gateway to Sunny Slope wine? How about tourism? How about a film commission? Got a train depot, historic buildings downtown, got the ag. Independent films, 2 months, 3 months. Got to feed people. That's money. How much does it cost to set up a film commission? Don't take that much. Just takes creativity, ingenuity, vision. Tech comes from nothing. These kids are imagining things out of thin air, creating industry. Get a piece of that action. See, what are we doing to make money? See, I understand the idea. People talk about, I want to be, conservative on the fiscal side of things. Okay. I want to balance my checkbook too, just like you.
Right.
Nobody wants to go into a deficit. But you and I know if the money's not looking right, got to figure out how to get some cash in.
Right. Right.
And not just sustainable revenue. People talk about, no, I'm talking about scalable revenue. Right? Scalable revenue. So some of the things that I just mentioned are scalable ideas that bring in growth.
Right.
You can't keep cutting yourself into oblivion. You can't be an operational administrator type figure with that kind of mindset. It's like restructuring. You're still in the hole. Yeah, you might carve out a little bit here, carve out a little bit there. But you're playing that scarcity game is still at play. I'm talking about vision and growth.
Right.
Right? I'm talking about actually putting together a business of a council of business and innovation. That would be a council to me outside of the city council. I'm going to handpick some of the brightest minds in business in Nampa. Small business, big business, divergent. And I'm going to get these people on the same page, and we're going to put a growth strategy together. Look, I don't know how many millionaires we got on the city council. If you ain't made $1 million, how you going to make $1 million? Or at least have been on the pathway. I've done these things. And even still, I'm going to have people who've done even way more than me.
So your idea, and again, I haven't heard anybody articulate this, which is, look, set up commissions that are designed to essentially build industries that don't currently exist. Not just scale up existing industries, but create like the Nampa Film Festival, create the Nampa Tech Competition for Idaho, create these different things that would then spur tourism. They would bring people into the city, and they would put Nampa kind of on the map, so to speak, for specific things that don't already exist in the Treasure Valley.
Absolutely. And you lean in on ag tech.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Okay, you got these kids going to CWI and NU. Okay. Incubators. Health tech, got Alphonsus, St. Alphonsus, St. Luke's. We need health tech innovation. These kids want to innovate. They just need the opportunity. And if you have an incubator and one of these companies blows up and you gave them a shot, you're going to get a little piece of that action, right?
Yeah. So then the idea is, again, in a similar manner, set up reinforcement mechanism, support mechanism. Maybe I have no idea how this works, but maybe you say like, hey, we got $1,000 scholarship here for somebody who can come up with the best idea, or we got like this certificate, or we got, you bring in individuals from, ag tech sectors or actual health tech sectors to be judges for this competition, where everybody from CWI and whatever other university are like, okay, they have this competition. Like, these are kids innovating down here. And then other kids from out of the area, they're like, I got to get into Nampa because they're doing some kind of I got an idea for a thing with the arm with the thing, and it's like, boom. And then all of a sudden you're bringing people together. That's
right. And you're making money.
Got it.
And you're making money.
So from a growth standpoint, look, growth to you is a geographic spreading, square foot. And instead of utilizing more first floor square foot, you want to infill in the middle, bring more foot traffic, be able to utilize the lots that are already built on, that were never going to be ag again. That has dual purpose of providing more beginning and middle housing options, as well as preserving ag land, because now you're not pushing out into ag land. What do you do though with property rights, with people that are like, hey, I got 500 acres. I got 100 acres. I got Matt's farm, right? Whatever. And I'm like, but I want to sell Matt's farm to this developer, and this developer, man, he wants to buy my farm. What do we do? Or what do you do with that?
That's a great question, because you can't tell people who to sell to, right? I think that there's a part of that is somewhat out of your control. But one of the problems is, Matt, is the fact that if you're a small business and you need land and it's already bought by a developer, sad part is you might not get access to that land to buy. And the leasing costs are so astronomical that's hurting small business growth. Like, if you wanted to have a small facility, I talked to this guy. He's like, I'm starting a pie company. He goes, guess what? Couldn't buy any land. He goes, you see this land that's so-called for sale? No. He goes, when you get into it, it's for lease. I said, how much they leasing it for? So much so that I bought my land in Caldwell.
Then he took the business to Caldwell.
That's right. He said, how many people I intended to hire, right, from CWI and NNU? He said, I'm going to have a storefront. The storefront will be in Nampa, but the manufacturing facility will be in Caldwell. So the developers too, like, we talk about impact fees.
Yeah.
I think we need to increase those a little bit. Look, if they put a little bit, it's not going to hurt these gals. A little bit will slow down the growth. I'll tell you a real story. And some people are not going to be happy with some of the stuff I'm sharing, because I'm just telling the truth. I was talking to a higher up in the Valley View School District.
Sure.
And this individual has, so as you know, a builder is not obligated to support the school district. And by the way, I don't know all the specifics, but I don't know how much the builders are putting skin in the game in terms of the roads, the infrastructure around the places that they're building. So, I'm not a complete expert on that whole ecosystem.
Sure.
But people are wondering why the traffic issues, and why, they're asking, are the builders paying their fair share?
Sure.
When it comes to the roads because they're disrupting that area.
Yeah.
Right. Wherever they're building. But this is an example of kind of the builder's position from this particular person's perspective. He knew that he couldn't ask the builders by state law to help the school district.
Right.
So what he came up, brilliant idea actually. He said, how about we ask the builders to pay $500 a door as a donation for just, we need an HVAC, just, maintenance costs.
Yeah.
We know what they went through to get that levy passed. It's tough. But this was an extra. In the meantime, money. He got over 11 signatures from different builders that said yes. Only one paid.
No.
It's public information. It's published. Now, his idea initially was that the city would have the list of the builders that made the commitment, and the city would ask the builders, hey, have you fulfilled your obligation before we issue your permit? City said, well, it didn't happen. Put it like that. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a guy who was talking to me, and he's like, look, our hands are tied. We have teachers who are upset. They don't feel like the city cares. We're just, our kids are suffering because of the class size. We are overcrowding our schools. And the builders can't give us $500 a door to help our kids.
What do you, considering the nature of taxing districts, right, where the Valley View School District is a district and, Nampa is a taxing district, what is the role or what is the capacity of the city to get involved with that type of thing? Where it's like, hey, we want the builders to participate in funding this taxing district a little bit more.
With the school districts?
Yes.
There's no legal obligation to do so. They can say no at this point. So it's an ask, and they would have to want to fulfill that obligation.
It's kind of like at the grocery store, and they're like, would you like to donate $1 to such and such a cause?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and this goes back to my initial sort of explanation of vision, our school districts are going to have to operate businesses, some kind of business. I mean, the state is not going to give them the money. The nonprofits aren't giving the money. I mean, not like the grants.
Sure.
It's not happening. I mean, that sector right now is just completely being dismantled. I mean, we're feeling that. So what are they going to do? People don't want to be taxed. I mean, you mentioned taxes, you see, and every idea that I've mentioned so far hasn't talked about raising people's taxes. But here's the thing. I'll give you a great example. We were in a city council meeting, and a lady got up, and she said to council, she said, this thing about taxes? She goes, you are all assuming that we don't like to pay for nice things. I said, wow. She goes, if you would explain to us that if we pay, for example, a road tax and this amount of money will go to fix these particular roads. And by the way, they hate the lighting, the signals with the lights. They're like, you got to get that straight. she goes, if you express that to us and explain that to us and you spend the money where you say you're going to spend it, how do you know that we wouldn't pay for that? And I thought that was brilliant. So there are people maybe on council who just have this idea, you know, this philosophy of no raise taxes, but why don't you let the people decide? It's like the Ford Idaho Center. You want to get into that?
I would love to. Hit me.
It's a debacle. It's an absolute debacle. Want to know why?
Why?
Because I'm talking to people and they feel like their voices aren't being heard.
What are their voices saying?
They're saying, let us decide. They want to keep that venue. And here's the thing that really kind of tripped me out. We're at a city council meeting. So the councilman put himself, one particular guy put himself on blast. He said, oh, shoot me. I'm the guy that came up with the idea. I don't know how many other people even knew he was the guy. Because someone was up at the stand and they were going off about it. Unhappy. This is what he said. I have not gotten any emails with any great ideas on how we can keep it and make money. Know what I thought?
What?
You just got a raise. Isn't it your job to come up with some ideas? Present ideas to the community? And at the same time, the reciprocal relationship of fielding great ideas from the community, convergently filtering those ideas, and then presenting some of the top 3 to 5 ideas and let the people decide. That's called process. That's not happening. People know it. They can smell it. So now you want to back end us with process? See, process has to start from the very beginning. And that's why people are upset. See, whether they give it to CWI, like, look, CWI might have some great plans for it. That's not my main issue. It has a lot of value, it has a lot of value. It's making money now. But if you're 20 plus million in deferred maintenance, my question is, how'd you even get there? If I'm losing a couple 100,000, I'm looking under the hood to see what's going on. So now at 20 plus million of deferred maintenance, now you want to do a conveyance?
So if I may ask, and I know as a mayor, I believe the city council would be the one deciding what to do with it. Mayor would be executing, but the mayor can also bring recommendations or different ideas. What would be some of your ideas in order to, it sounds like you're in favor of what you feel like the people want, which is keeping it. What ideas would you bring forth to say, like, hey, here's one plan. I'll give you 2 plans. Do both of these plans allow you to keep it and make it solvent?
Well, I'd want a real clear breakdown from the current management company of what their projections are for it to recoup the money. I really haven't seen that laid out from their mouth.
Sure.
That's huge. Because that could be the plan right there. People could be like, it's going to take however many years to dig us out of this hole. It's making money. They're on the pathway to success. We want to keep it. All good. We haven't really heard that. I haven't really heard public facing what CWI's plans are. I mean, we know, they want to take it over. They want to, manage it. They want to, we in general terms, but in terms of from the president, from leadership, from the kids who are going to run it. If you want that buy-in, get the community there to share with us what their plans are. But also people are saying, well, why aren't we leasing it to them? Now we're going to get an appraisal. You see all these little different elements. So money wise, there's land, there's property on it where they could bring in businesses. Again, it wouldn't, based on one of the councilmen, it would maybe $500,000 a year. I don't know, know exactly, but that could be a pathway for some revenue. You could add that with the revenue that is starting to make over the last few years. It could be an amalgamation of different things, right? But it's just the fact that these ideas still haven't been mined in a way that make people feel like they've exhausted all possibilities before the tell of this is kind of what we would like to do. And that's what people feel a little dismayed by. They feel like the transparency of not from the very beginning, it just wasn't there. That's what people are saying. And it's hard. I feel bad for the mayor because intention or not, I don't know. It just was an optic catastrophe. And I'm talking to people, and whatever the good intentions are, I'm sure there are a lot of good intentions. It's not translating to the people. That takes me to the way in which I'll govern. That's going to be different. Accessibility. I can't tell you how many people have told me I have never had a mayor knock on my door in Nampa, a candidate. I've never had a candidate running for mayor knock on my door. That's about everybody. Not one person. Now, come on. The mayor, and she's a lovely lady. And I put this on my website, and she acknowledged it. She goes, I saw that you put on your website that I endorsed a candidate before the other candidates were announced. And I appreciated that she at least acknowledged that. But really think about that. You endorse a candidate before the other candidates have been announced. And then what does it say about the candidate who accepted the endorsement?
You know what? Let me be honest with you. I don't know a lot about politics, but I do know the most benefit people will get from this is probably more of your ideas and less of there might have been something bad about other people.
Well, what I'm saying is fairness.
Sure.
Just
everybody likes fairness.
Just because I'm not here to disparage. But what I'm saying is people don't like that people don't like that.
Sure.
What I'm telling you is what people are saying. This isn't even about me. People know that happened because it was in the press. And people are saying, they didn't know. But people who follow, they think that this election is a big deal. They just think that everyone should have been announced, like the endorsement should have been announced after all of the candidates were announced. It's just simple.
I got you.
I mean, I was upfront about it. I mean, she and I talked about it. I'm not trying to,
Yeah, no, I got you. Let's the CWI. I had not heard somebody mention something about a lease. That doesn't seem like a terrible idea. And again, I don't know what would be involved in that, but whatever the utility is that that CWI would be getting out of the Fort Idaho Center. It's like, look, you want it for A, B, C, D? Well, you don't have to necessarily get it conveyed. Like, you don't have to absorb all the maintenance. Like, maybe you just lease it from us. Like that. Again, that's something that nobody has mentioned.
Here's another idea. Now, a guy called me.
You got multiple ideas. You actually do have. This is wild.
A guy called me today. True story. He called me this morning before I came here. 208 number. Didn't know him from Adam. He introduced himself to me. He's had successful hockey teams. Sound like a really successful guy. He goes, I don't know what's going on about this Idaho Fort Center. He goes, I want to talk to you about it. And he goes, and I said, okay, let's have lunch. We're going to have actually breakfast tomorrow. Because he came up with more ideas, but I'm going to give you one. And I don't know. I'm going to give it to you right now. I don't.
Where are you guys going to breakfast? Where are you going? Come on. I'll post this after 9 o'clock. Where are you going to breakfast?
I look at my phone. But
you got to hit the egg factory.
8:30.
Egg factory is so good.
Yeah, he picked it 8:30 in the morning.
Great.
Right. He goes, you got that Amazon Center. He goes, how much do you think Amazon would pay to take the Ford name off it and put Amazon on it? The Amazon Center. Now, look, I don't know the logistics of that.
Sure. But that's the idea.
But it's a good idea. How much would Amazon pay for that? I haven't heard that idea. It's outside the box. Could be a absolutely not practical idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
But my point is, where are the ideas coming? That's what I'm trying to lean in on. Everyone, and that's what I bring to the table. I mine ideas. I don't care if it was a 3-year-old that said, Amazon Center. Kid,
damn, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. I don't care where the idea comes from. And that's what we got. And that's the mentality that we have to have on our council. We got to get out of this scarcity mentality and focus on, okay, yes, we take care of home, balance our budget. We got to make sure the numbers make sense. Right. Look, it's just like tech. I love tech. Techies build. Techies don't vision, but techies build. That's what they do. They program, they build. Same with scientists. Scientists, science. I work with scientists. Scientists, science. And that's great. But vision and bringing people together, that is a particular type of leadership that you just can't find anywhere. A person with a divergent background who can look at ecosystems from different industry, bring people together, mine ideas, bring together. You know what makes a great tech startup? The people. It's not their skill, because you can find great coders everywhere. It's this. It's the people. And that's when I say human infrastructure, it's mining for the best and the brightest people to solve the biggest problems. And if we want to be on the forefront and be the city that we can be with the potential that we have that's right in our city, your leadership has to lean in on that. Otherwise, you are leaving so much value on the table, and people want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be involved. So back to the point I was trying to make about visibility. You got to be visible. Got to be out there. They gave me the moniker, the people's mayor. Why? Because how can I recognize talent if I don't communicate? One of the first things the mayor said to me when we met, she goes, you know what? I've been to your website. You're a great communicator. And I was humbled by that. Because you got to be able to translate, concepts that are, arduous, complicated. You don't have to be necessarily, you're not going to be the smartest person in the room. That's okay. But someone's got to communicate to the people, let the people know what's going on a consistent basis, lean in on social media, connect with our young people, believe in our young families. I got an idea when it comes to helping our young families when it comes to childcare. So childcare is an issue.
Big issue in Idaho. Big one.
Okay. So here's my idea. Now we're giving vouchers to, private schools. What if we gave micro grants to young families who wanted to have their own in-home business, childcare business? Because I'm so small, pro small business. I'm so pro small business because of the ingenuity that comes from it and people having agency over their own lives, which we need more now than ever because we can't depend on the government. So what if this family has 8, 9 kids? They got a business. There's only 150, from my research, registered childcare businesses in Canyon County. Okay. So what about the co-op model, where you have a neighborhood that, is a nonprofit? We as a city, we just consult them on how to set up their nonprofit, get it going. They set their own wages. All they have to do is just verify that they're, licensed. And the neighborhood takes care of the kids. A model already working. Because we know that now I'm talking to people where the mom is taking care of the kids in the daytime and working at night. That's, you and I know we're married men. It is not a tenable situation. But those are two ideas that could help with that. And these young families, we have no rent control, no rent protection, in Idaho. So how do I want to help the young families and our elders who are being preyed on? We talked about that before the interview.
Yeah.
Most vulnerable population. Social Security ain't making it. I'm talking to people who feel so vulnerable in their own house. How about an ombudsman? A city ombudsman. How do I know that? Well, I had to use an ombudsman for my dad, who has Alzheimer's and who's transitioning on Medicare. And the facility that he was in, we had some issue, so we called an ombudsman. Now, that's why we try to, get some renters' rights at the state level. But on the local level, an ombudsman is basically an advocate that they can call when they are experiencing predatory behavior. I talked to someone who said to me, she's a property manager. I won't tell you who she is, but she's part of a pretty significant organization in town, and she does this on the side. She said, I can't tell you how many other property managers right now are accepting applications with no intent to rent. Now, what would an ombudsman do? Person calls the ombudsman and says, hey, or this person raised my rent 50%. I've been paying my rent on time. Right. Got a job. So even though, legally the ombudsman can't, quote unquote, do anything, they can do something by putting the landlord on notice, saying basically, hey, we noticed this. This is a grievance that this renter has. It's about conflict resolution, right? I just want to hear what your thought. They're right. The mediator, but they're advocating for the renter. That's a simple solution that we could implement.
The child care is a big thing.
Huge.
And I'm glad you brought it up. When you talk about microgrants, is that something that you would look for funding from the state, or do you think that's something that would be locally sourced within Nampa?
I think we can lean on public-private partnerships, locally sourced. I would love to at the state level. You know how that could go. You pursue all avenues.
Sure.
And same thing when it comes to food for kids, right? Public-private partnerships. So the mayor has a program called Healthy Nampa, and we talked about this. And I said, well, this is how I want to kind of build on that. So my initiative would be called Healthy Lives, Healthy Brains. So you and I know when you're trying to help people, it's very difficult to make an altruistic case for support. That's just that's just appealing to someone's heart. That can be, it's hit or miss. It's hit when they have a connection to it, right? It's personal. If it's not personal, But what I want to do is look at it from a brain capital perspective. There's a framework, it's a global framework, that's actually trickling down to state and local government. And what it does is it actually quantifies input from an economic perspective and output. So based on the data, if you invest, say, $1 in brain capital, the return is $7 to $10. So what do I mean by brain capital? This is one of the most ingenious organisms known to man. We are where we are as a species because of the development between these 6 inches. Now, brain capital is not just cognitive wellness. It is skills. What is that? Adaptability, analytical skills, creativity, resilience. If a child doesn't have food, you are dealing with, the human brain doesn't mature until mid-20s. So if a child doesn't have food, the basic ingredient for wellness, they're going to have behavioral issues. They're going to have, they won't be able to read. They're going to have absenteeism issues. They're going to lack creativity and resilience. So my goal is to lean in on businesses and to say, the business and innovation team, they'll help with this too, because all of that growth strategy is also embedding this brain capital economy within it. When we invest, this is the return on that dollar over the longitudinal aspect of life, not just the little ones, but all the way through our aging community. I know you had someone on here talking about AI.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So now we have the infrastructure from a data perspective to track that data. How many people are getting through high school?
Right.
How many people are going on to college? What are their occupations? But one of the big keys is how many of those people are coming right back to Nampa. Because if we can then grow our economy and show that investment in these kids is returning $8 to $9 right here at home, now you're driving purchasing power, you're driving GDP. And you can actually do an analysis on brain capital. And then you'll be able to look and see where the gaps are. and where you need to put more emphasis, more resources. So that is an economic case to the business owners, not just an altruistic case of why we need to invest in our children.
Yeah, Jeff Carlson came in recently about a month ago.
Great.
He talked about longitudinal data sets. And this was exactly what he was saying. He was like, look, we don't know. He's more emphasizing, like, on a statewide, we need to look at where the dollars for the education in broad spectrum, not just book it, like all education, all training, all capacity for young people comes. Because then we can figure out, like, okay, where do we get our most bang for the buck? Should we put more money here? Should we take a little bit of money away from here? Because that didn't really give an ROI. But once you know that, then it's like, oh, okay, we have the perfect formula because we know, put these dollars in these places for this variety of kids and you're going to get the best outcome, economic and otherwise.
Yes, we need to do that here. We need to bring AI in. Look, the concept of Doge is brilliant. The concept of using AI for efficiency without, cutting necessities and things that make us better, we can do that. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we're going to use tech, let's use tech locally. Let's be efficient. We are in the age of AI. This is an incredible time to be living. Are we using it for our budget? Are we right now, Nampa, using AI to drive efficiency and transparency? Are we using that tech? I don't think so. Whomever is my CFO or whoever those people are who are engaged in that domain, they will need to understand the power of AI and how AI can help us and inform us and show, I know the power of this and what it can do. It's all algorithmic. It shows you the gaps. The numbers don't lie, but it's so powerful. It actually can now create opportunities that you don't even see because of the interconnection of patterns. Biostatistics, data analytics, all of that stuff. How deep are we into that as a city? Because if we're talking about driving future and driving revenue, I don't hear anybody talking about the AI play. We are in the dark years if we're not talking AI right now.
Yeah, even to your point, what we talked about earlier, setting up commissions for like a film festival or whatever. I mean, I wonder what AI would say if, like, hey, what other commissions would have, what other events that you could develop a commission, very low cost, would drive the greatest number of population to blah, 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 blah. I've never even thought about that, but you could probably just put that into a prompt and be like, okay, great, here are 5 ideas. Like, these are things we're not doing. These are things that other cities are roughly our size and demographic and blah, blah, have done.
I know producers who already want to come here and shoot film. I lived in Los Angeles. I was in the film business. I know filmmakers who, I said, when they found out I'm living here, they go, oh, well, all you got to, and, it's such a unique little gem because it has all these elements. And people come for 2 months at a time. I've shot film in other cities, small little cities, where I was there for 2 months. They had to feed us. They had to house us. That's bringing in money. So the cultural arts, we don't really have we're not known for any real cultural arts. Now, with my background, why don't we have a cool supper club downtown?
No, supper club, yeah.
See, a supper club would be cool. You get the local acts.
Yeah.
You got to go to the Sapphire Room. And by the way, I sell that place out once a year. So I know it's one of the most unique venues on the West, the Sapphire Room. It's this little cool supper club in a hotel in the Riverside. We have the space in downtown Nampa to have a cool supper room type of a venue where every night in Boise, they're booked 7 nights a week. You know, and then they go to the outside for a few months during the summer. But during their in-house season, they are booked 7. There's so much talent that wants to be exposed here. Mm. There's so much talent that wants to be exposed here. Give these kids something to aspire to. I love what we're doing with sports. That's great. But you can't, and not only that, how about an art commission? The Film and Art Commission. We could have galleries. We could be bringing world-renowned artists.
Get Snake River Wine Tour to swing by the gallery.
There you go.
Halfway through the day.
There you go.
Quick stop and then back on the road.
Tourism.
Yeah.
Tourism. We got the talent. We have everything we need. The only thing, and I was out canvassing, and the lady who runs an art showing at the Civic Center, her and her husband stopped me on the street. She goes, I read about the film commission idea on your website. What about art? And I said, I love it. She goes, I'm the only person that has a showing at the Civic Center, and it's going well. I said, well, let's expand on that. Make it a thing. See, right now, you got all these people coming from Boise. They're going right past us and they're going to Caldwell. They'd rather not. I mean, Caldwell's great, but they would love to be able to come here if we make it an attraction. And one other thing that would be an attraction. What about a food hub, a food truck hub? A real food truck hub.
Yeah, a hub where they can all come and everybody knows where they're going to be.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You know what you should do? Use the Ford Idaho Center parking lot.
That'd be it.
Come on now.
That's money. See?
I'm like, look at these. It's the coffee. It's the coffee, baby. It's coming.
No one's brought up that idea. Great idea, though.
Thank you. Could I be part of the... I don't live in Nampa, but
great idea.
I'll come in with dumb ideas and coffee.
Yeah. But here's the cool thing about that. You know, if you have a food truck and you build a following and you build that business, it's a pathway to brick and mortar.
Yeah, right.
Because you got to show proof of concept to get those loans.
Sure.
Right? So we're looking to build up our downtown. The best and brightest from that food truck hub. It's all in town. It's right there. People want that. I bring it up. Hey, what about a food truck hub? Oh my gosh, I love that idea. It's innovation. Supporting small business.
There was a buddy of mine knew this guy who was incredible barbecue, incredible ribs. And he didn't have a proper food truck. This is kind of like pre-food truck era when it's known now where you're like mobile restaurant.
Yeah.
But this guy would go with his ribs and he had like this big smoker. He'd just take it behind him and he'd go out to there was a good bar downtown and he'd just hang out in the parking lot. And people would come out and he would just do like 3 ribs or 6 ribs, a little food boat. And he's like, people come out, they get the ribs, they go back in the bar and it's just like all night long, people drinking beer, having a great time. Then the cops showed up. They're like, bro, what are you doing in the parking lot? Get out of here with the ribs. And he's like, but again, there wasn't that model where it's like, oh, I have a mobile, essentially, food license. But yeah, I mean, talk about building. He was like the bar owner loved it. He was like, people would come there, hang out, even if they were just coming for the ribs, and they go inside and get a beer. People are already there for a beer or a drink. They go out and get a rib and then come back in. He didn't have to worry about providing food. The venue got hotter and he was like, dude, this is lit. And then they're like, get out of here. So yeah, like that's an interesting way to have a low capital investment, but start building a culture around a more vibrant, food and nightlife.
That's right. That's exactly right. Make it hip.
Make it hip.
Make it cool. People want cool.
Yeah, man, I could go for some ribs too. That'd
And
be
guess
delicious.
what? A great barbecue spot downtown. A great barbecue spot downtown. People will travel for some great barbecue, and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God. I did a whole pig about a month ago. I did a whole pig at my house.
Oh.
I love barbecue, man. It's the best.
It's the best.
Listen, a couple other questions, if I may ask.
Yeah.
And again, totally digging all your ideas. Talk to me about law enforcement.
Okay,
Right.
That's a great idea.
You hammered, you had a very good idea on growth, on how to produce more attainable housing. We hit the Fort Idaho Center. Obviously you have a real clear idea of economic growth and an economic plan. Talk to me about law enforcement.
I support it. I met with Chief Joe Huff. Great guy. I love his style. I'll give you a great story about him. It just speaks to his character. So we had like a meet and greet, not a meet and greet, but it was an information session at City Hall early on. And I walked out. Saw a guy in uniform. I was leaving. He jumped out into the hallway. I said, hey, I didn't meet you. My name is Joe Huff. Didn't say he was a chief. And we talked for 20 minutes. He gave me his card. I didn't even know he was Chief Joe Huff till later. Called him up. He gave me a tour. We talked, him and his second in command. And I told him, I said, sometimes people like me don't know what to think of law enforcement.
Jazz musicians, man, you never know.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to put yourself in our shoes, right? So there was no judgment, but you just never know. And I told him, I said, I really appreciate just the way in which you have treated me with the same kindness and decency and respect you would treat anyone else. And no bias in terms of the fact that I could be your next mayor. And we talked about style, about how he likes to communicate with the current mayor. I love that. I support law enforcement. Why? I got a family. Talk to you about that 19-year-old. I got a 19-month-old at home too.
No. Dude,
that's right.
That's a span. You were in the clear.
I know.
You were in the clear.
And she wants another one.
Ah!
I said, wait, we got to wait till after I win.
Oh my gosh.
But see, that also gives you a little bit more intel on why, on the way in which I think and the concerns, the things that keep me up at night. It's not just about these young adults. It's about these young babies. Because we intend to be in Nampa and raise our family in Nampa. What is this life going to look like?
Do you think that do you think that there's an appropriate amount of law enforcement? Because most people I speak with are like, hey man, love our police. Then the question is, do you think they're funded sufficiently? Do you think they have enough resources? And then
he was transparent. It's tight. Particularly when you look at the growth. It's a tight situation. Now, I love the fact that they are leaning in on great tech. When he showed me that system, that was probably one of the most exciting parts about the whole experience. When he showed me, and they showed me like what they're able to capture and the fact that this piece of tech is novel to this region. And he told me the story of how he stumbled upon this tech. I was like, that's a guy for me. Leaning in on innovation, understanding how that piece of tech could offset cost. That's coming from a chief, that's visionary. So we have to make sure that we have law enforcement to meet the demand of our population, obviously. So that's why, again, we got to think about how we generate revenue as a city. Because we got to take care. We got to take care of our fire. Got to take care of our, our medical. I mean, we have to do these things. So anyway, I don't want to belabor that point. If you have any other questions, but yes, absolutely, 100% support the blue.
Gotcha. Listen, we have hit a lot of things.
Oh, I know. I kind of, no, I was,
Listen, you hit a lot of my questions along the way. Ultimately, I think the only thing was like managing infrastructure, like roads and stuff. Big ideas or thoughts on that?
Well, that's a great question, and people are.
It's kind of a terrible question. It's a good topic. The actual question was terrible, but yeah.
People just think that I would have to look. I mean, there's always already. I have to look at the plan that's already set.
Sure.
I mean, certain things are already in motion. People have to understand this. I mean, no mayor is going to come in and, Superman this thing.
Right.
That's not how it works. You got to work with people. You have a council,
And there are laws already in place.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just want people to understand. I understand the confines of the job.
Sure.
But I do want to be clear about what people are saying, because that's the thing about me. It's going to be more than surveys. Sure. I'm going to have an open door 1 day a week. I'm sorry, a month. Open door, people can schedule appointments. Half hour, bam, bam, bam. I'll take a break for your great coffee. Otherwise, I'm going to have, this is the type of engagement with community. Yeah. So the surveys are great. That's wonderful. But you're not going to get the intel and the heart unless you are talking directly to our constituents. That's what I will be doing. So when it comes to the roads, what are they saying? They stink. Some people are like, but a lot of people just think that they should be way further along with our roads. And I think they're right. So what I need to understand at a more granular level is, what is the pathway to moving the needle so that we can be more cognizant of how new development obstructs traffic. You can look at these signaling. The signals are kind of janky at certain places, people say. But it needs to be dealt with. Now, how do we pay for it? This one lady gave an example of, how do you guys know we're not willing to pay for nice things? That doesn't raise taxes on an annual level. I mean, it would if it was like a one-time road tax. I personally would pay for a one-time road tax, because I know how many people hate the roads.
Right.
So I pay for it. Even if it wasn't necessarily in my area, I know it would be making other people's life better. So I would do that. But the people would have to vote on that. And the council would have to be okay with putting it in front of the people. Hey, would an extra $100 a year be something you'd be okay with to support our road infrastructure? We've got 120,000 people in Nampa. What would $50 do? What if it was a buy-in based on the people who wanted to? If you explain it to them, this is where it's going to go, you might raise $500,000. But you got to be willing to ask.
Yeah.
And this idea that, you have to be willing to ask. My mother says, my mom said to me very early, closed mouths don't get fed. But this is one thing I didn't talk about today that I want to make sure I mention. And I want to make sure that we engage our Hispanic community a little bit more. I think that there are some there's nervousness, as we know, because of the national landscape of things. And back to Joe Huff, I asked him, I said, what is your, I said, I'm talking to people, and I'm talking to people from the Hispanic community, and they're telling me that some of their friends and family aren't going out as much. And he said, we have nothing to do with that on the national level. We are only concerned about crime. Whoever you are, whatever national, that's the only thing that we're concerned about is crime. He said, and to be honest, we haven't even been like hit up about that from the,
Right.
I said, I appreciate that. Now, as mayor, one of the things I'll do is I'll say to our community, hey, everyone here who is abiding by the law, our Hispanic community who we love and cherish as citizens of our community, you have nothing to worry about. You're not going to be profiled. Our law enforcement is committed to serving everyone equally. And the only thing that they are focused on at this moment is the bad guys. So go about your lives. It's all good.
Do you think that would conflict with, federal? Are you just saying from a Nampa standpoint?
Yeah, from a Nampa.
Like, hey, Nampa PD's not out here. And again, if they're federal people that come in here, we can't
control
Nampa,
that. Yeah.
But from a got it. So it's saying, hey, look, man, the Nampa Police Department is not going to be out.
They're not your enemy.
Gotcha.
The Nampa PD is not your enemy.
Gotcha.
They're your friends, just like everyone else, and they are only focused on the bad guys. And because a lot of people don't know. Right. I mean, unfortunately,
I had Director Colonel Gardner in from ISP, Director of the Idaho State Police. And, they're cooperating and working with, not just cooperating, but working with ICE in a supplemental capacity. And he said, look, man, we help with transport and stuff. We only pick people up in prisons. Yeah. And it's like, we have not, like, we are transporting and concerned with violent felons. Yep. That's, like, we're not messing around. It's like ISP was like, if somebody else wants to do something else, that's fine. But ISP, we're focused on these things.
And that's awesome. See, he was on your show and he explained that to people who wouldn't know. And that's important for people to know, to calm their nerves about it, their anxieties about it. And at the local level, I think that's what leadership, has a role to do as well, So I just wanted to mention that because, it comes up and I just wanted to acknowledge the service of all of our, diverse community, but that community has given a lot to this city and continues to. And Mr. Huff said himself, he goes, look, I get the value of the workforce and their value to our farming community.
And construction.
And our restaurant businesses.
On and on and on. You're not solving the growth problem without construction. And you're not getting after construction without a real solid, reliable, skilled workforce.
And therein lies the human infrastructure, investing even more. I mean, there's genius potential right there that we can even expand upon. And so that's my job. is to find the diamonds in the rough and the people who are doing exceptional work already, and bring and grow it, expand it, and just, bring brilliant and bright minds together. The other day we were out in a community. We came across two young ladies on a corner in one of the neighborhoods, and they had we sold lemonade when we were kids.
Yeah.
These kids were selling these 3D art.
Yeah.
I was like, how cool is that?
They're selling NFTs.
They sell 3D little 3D figurines.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I got you.
3D figurines.
Yeah.
Right, it's a long way from lemonade.
Yeah.
These two young ladies and their mom, they were so happy, and we got a little something for my little one.
Yeah, my 11-year-old loves the little 3D printed like dragons
Yeah.
and stuff. Can't get enough of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Mine had a little crab.
Yeah.
But I wanna invest in entrepreneurship at a young level, at a young age. Not just, hey, coming, at CWI level. And I love the vocational class,
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. We got to push into that. But entrepreneurship, financial literacy, how many kids still don't understand how credit works?
Yeah.
My dad had it was an economics major. I still didn't understand it, and that's the only pet peeve I have with my dad.
You're like, come on, Dad.
Why didn't you really show me how you use credit? We have to teach our kids how to leverage credit at a young age. How do you get a home if you don't have good credit?
Right.
Not happening. How are you going to get your first loan for a business if you don't have good credit? Might not even be able to get the gal or guy you want if you don't have good credit.
That's true.
That's an ask nowadays. How's your credit? Right. So anyway, I'm passionate about this stuff, as you can tell.
Man, I can feel it. Eric, listen to me, man. I was ill prepared for all of your ideas, all of the different, again, you brought up things that nobody else has brought up that I think is really cool. Is there anything else you'd like to hit on?
No, I would just say, hey, please, if you want to support me, you can go to my website, ericfornampa.com. Follow us on social media. Really understand, if you can, as much of my vision as possible. Feel free. My telephone number is on my website. Call me. I want to hear from you. And I just appreciate all of the support. And this is going to be an exciting month. November 4th is the day. I feel that we are at an interesting crossroads in terms of the city and how we're going to propel ourselves as a future-ready city. And I can just tell people that at 1,000 doors, don't let the suit fool you. I'm out there talking to people because I care. And I will be so committed to making a difference. And I just want this to be a very fair, it's a nonpartisan race. It's nonpartisan for a reason. Everything I said is about people. And I just thank you for this opportunity to be here. I love your show. You have a lot of incredibly brilliant people on your show. You yourself, I mean, the expanded knowledge and awareness that you have. I've watched it's hard to keep up with all the episodes.
Listen, I can't keep up with
so
them.
many episodes, man. But I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for having me on the show, and I wish you all of the success that you deserve. And I hope after I'm mayor, I get to come back.
Oh, listen, you can come back, mayor or not. I love your ideas, and again, everybody that's running, it takes so much. And again, I cannot talk from personal experience, but I have met a lot of people running, and that no one is saying it's a walk in the park. It is difficult to put yourself out there, to cast yourself out for judgment, to take the hits, and we need that. Yeah. We need people willing to do that. Yeah. We need people to stand up, bring ideas forth, bring problems forth, bring solutions forth. And so I just really appreciate you. Win, lose, or draw, I really appreciate what you're doing for Idaho and for Nampa.
I appreciate it. I always tell the truth. And, not everyone's going to like you. I realize that. But my career, I've been to 22 countries around the world. I've been to every state. One thing I learned is that we all have way more in common than we have different. That's the power of music. It's the power of community. And I can do this because of the resilience that I've built up just through where I've been and the people I've met around the world. I know what it's like to meet someone who's never met a black person before. I was 13 years old in Poland performing, and these kids had never met a black person before. So when you have experiences like that, and you see the power of music and how these kids fell in love with us by the end of the performance, I know the power of the human spirit and how we can just see right into each other's heart, but what makes us human. And that's what Nampa's about. That's why I'm here, because that's the best of what we are. And that's what I want to see happen even more in our community.
Well, God bless you, sir. Thank you for coming in. Good luck with the campaign.
Thank you.